Hello, my name is Lana. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna give you my top books of 2020. Trust me when I say that this is a very hard decision to make. I've read at this point when I'm filming, it's the 24th of December, I finished 177 books. And that's a lot to choose from, first of all. And then I also, as I was looking through the titles that I read this year, I realized that I really did myself a disservice by reading so much this year. I was going from one book to the other. As soon as I would finish a book, I would start the next one. And what that did is not leave me with any time to process what I've read. So a lot of these I enjoyed, but I didn't get enough time to fully process my feelings for them. And I think that's why some of the books on my top 10 of 2020 are series, because as I was reading one book after the other in the series, I was spending more time with the characters in the world, and so I had more time to process how I was feeling about them, I guess. So I made a list of my top 10 and a list of 5 honorary mentions, and even now, as I'm looking at that list, I don't know if I completely agree, but I had to choose, so this is what I came up with. And there are so many other books that were so great this year, but I just could not fit them all in these lists. For example, you know, what's a book that I still can't stop thinking about? The Faithful Executioner. Is it on the list? No. What is the favorite classic I've read this year? Frankenstein and Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. Are they on the list? No. What's a book that started up an emotional storm and had me put like 10 other books on this subject just so I can continue studying it? The Body Keeps the Score. Is it on the list? No. What is a book that I felt okay about when I finished it, but as you know, the more time has passed, the more I think I really like it? Ninth House. Did it make it on the list? No. And finally, books that shifted my mindset in 2020 are White Fragility, I'm Afraid of Men, The State of Affairs, Good Calories, Bad Calories. Sadly, these books also did not make it into the top 10 or the 5 honorary mentions, but I do still love them, and there are so many other books on my list of the books that I've read this year that I just feel so bad about leaving out, but I have to. So here are my 5 honorary mentions. First of all, it's Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Completely changed, you know, how I sleep and how I view sleep, and phenomenal. The Silent Patient. I'm still not over the plot twist in this thriller. It's so good. Number 3, Swimming in the Dark. This is about Poland in the 60s while it was under the Soviet Union, about a young man coming of age and getting to know his sexuality and basically trying to survive in that world. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. Number 4, One of Us is Lying. This is the first YA thriller that I read this year, and I think ever, and it prompted me to pick up other YA thrillers because I liked this one so much. And the number 5 on this list has changed like 5 times in the last 3 minutes. But I think I'm going to go with A Fatal Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. It was so interesting and informative and funny and sad at times. It was just a perfect storm, and I absolutely adored it. And now to my top 10. These are not in any specific order, by the way. Number 1 is Magpie Murders by Anthony Horowitz. I've been talking about this book for such a long time. It's a book within a book. It's a murder mystery within a murder mystery. Everything I love. Number 2 is Truly Devious. Now, this year I've actually read all 3 books in this arc. I'm pretty sure there are more books to come in the series, but like the arc of this story finished in the 3rd book, and I read all 3 back to back, and I adored it. It's a YA mystery with a leading character who is obsessed with true crime, and a wonderful setting of a boarding school full of secrets. I loved her romantic interest, and I loved the way it all played out. I really Really recommend. Future Lana here. I cannot believe I forgot number 3 on the top 10 list. Number 3 is A Curse So Dark and Lonely. I read this in August during the Magical-a-thon, and if you saw that vlog, you saw me hyperventilating and just being unable to express anything coherent because I was so overwhelmed with emotions and just the suspense and the tension and what's gonna happen. I'm still not read the sequel. I don't know what I'm waiting for. I think because I loved the first book so much, it's kind of like I really hope to enjoy the sequel just as much, but what if I don't? This is like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I'm not someone who usually enjoys fairy tale retellings, not because I've read many and I liked few of them, but they're just not something that I gravitate towards. That's not why I picked this book. I picked this book up because it had so many incredible reviews and people seem to adore it, and I am one of them. I loved it. I loved the character, all the characters actually. I love that there's this weird tension, and I like that it's not just like a romance novel. Yes, romance is a part of this book, but there's so much more about, it's not even political intrigue, but you know there's this kingdom and it's not doing so well and they're trying to save it. So it has so many incredible elements, and I adored, and I think I've used adore in this video enough times already, but A Curse So Dark and Lonely, a favorite. Number 4, Monster Calls. If you read this book, you know I cried so much after I finished this book. It's a tiny book. I think I read it in one afternoon and I cried myself to sleep. It was incredible. I cannot believe it took me so long to read this one. Number 5 initially was Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, but I recently finished Home Before Dark. Now it's Home Before Dark. I discovered Riley Sager's books this year and actually have just one left that I have not read of his. Home Before Dark was simultaneously what I expected and nothing like I expected. I loved every plot twist. I love all the stories within the story. I love the setting. I really recommend again. Number 6 is Willpower Instinct by my favorite Kelly McGonigal. An incredible book that will make you question everything you do and really look at your behavior and see how you can make your own life easier and be less mean to yourself, and so great. And I think I want to reread it next year because there are a lot of things in there that I don't remember anymore. I just need to refresh my memory. Number 7 is Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered. This is a memoir written by the 2 hosts of a true crime podcast, My Favorite Murder. Now, I've listened to like 2 episodes of that podcast. It's pretty fun as a true crime podcast. I had no idea what I was getting into when I picked up this book, and it's truly a testament to how amazing it is that me not really knowing anything about these 2 hosts and not really being that involved in their lives or really interested, that this book made it to my top 10 of the year. I remember crying from laughter. I remember crying from just being so overwhelmed with emotions. I remember, finishing this book and thinking of these 2 ladies as like my best friends ever. If you go on Goodreads and just like read the reviews, you will understand what I'm talking about. You don't need to know anything to go into this book and absolutely love it. Number 8, A Light Amongst Shadows. This is a recent read, a recent favorite, and I can't stop thinking about it. I absolutely adored it. It's a YA paranormal mystery with an LGBT romance set in the late 1800s in a boarding school. Do you need to know anything more? Number 9, the Jacoby series. Now, would I consider any like one particular book in this series as my favorite. Probably not. I don't think I've given to any book in this series a 5-star. I think they were all 4 stars, but this series in general has just brought me so much joy in 2020. It was such a comfort read. This is a paranormal YA sort of detective mystery set in somewhere in, I think, New England in the Victorian era. Though if it's America, it's not the Victorian era, it's just late 1800s. It's charming, it's funny, and it's just perfect for what it is, and it brought me so much joy. And number 10 is 6 of Crows. I remember reading this in spring and being so engrossed in the world, in the characters, that when I finished it, I just needed the sequel, and I went about the sequel, and I just remember being like lost in this world and not wanting to leave it. And I think that definitely warrants like a top 10 position, even though Crooked Kingdom I didn't like as much as 6 of Crows, but 6 of Crows was incredible. I'm so nervous about posting this because I know I will change my mind like 5 more times in the next few days, but you know, I had to make a choice, and this is what I'm choosing today, 24th of December 2020. I will do a separate video with my most disappointing reads of 2020, so look out for that. And it's Christmas Eve today, right? So Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.